I want to first start out by talking about what we're going to do today and what are some of the skills that we're all going to learn about. The first one really is to think about opportunities to negotiate. I can teach you a lot of negotiation skills today, but if you never actually initiate negotiations to use them, they're not going to be that useful. And so we're really going to think about when in your environments can you negotiate. All negotiation situations are different also, and so what I'm going to want to do today is present a framework for thinking about when to use what skills. And so really thinking systematically about what kind of negotiation is this and what skills would be appropriate in this context. Also, we want to think about how to balance cooperation and competition. No negotiation situation is purely competitive or purely cooperative. There's some middle point where it contains elements of things we both want as elements of things that we have different interests about. And we want to figure out how to balance those two things, competition and cooperation, how to do that most effectively. We also want to think about how to prepare for a negotiation. Preparation is one of the most important things that you can do to be ready for a negotiation and to perform effectively. And so how to think about what are the things to do to prepare. One of them in particular is thinking about your bargaining power in a situation. All right, you always want to walk in thinking about what is my power here, and importantly, what's the power of the other side. So how to really assess what are the things that make me and the other side powerful. Also, we want to think about how to understand the problems that impede successful negotiation. Has anyone ever had a negotiation that ended in a disaster? Yes, I've had many of those. We really want to think about what are the systematic problems that we can maybe foresee and try to head off so that our negotiations end more productively. Okay? All right, so I want to start out this morning with my first negotiation. And I have $1 here. Would you like to inspect it to make sure it's an actual dollar? Looks real enough? Looks real. Okay, good. So here's the deal. We're going to auction off this $1. Bids will start at 10 cents and go up in 10-cent increments. Whoever bids the highest for my $1 gets my $1. But the second highest bidder has to bid me what they pay. Okay? Bids start at 10 cents, go up in 10-cent increments. Highest bidder gets my $1. Second highest bidder has to pay me what they bid. All right? Anybody like my $1 for 10 cents? All right, there's a bargain hunter in the back. Excellent. 10 cents. How about 20? 20? 30? 30. Oh, you really want it. Okay, 40? 40. 50? Yes, in the very back. 60? 60 cents. 70? 70 cents. How about 10-cent increments. You got to listen to the rules. 80. All right, how about 90? Yes. How about $1? So, sir, you bid 80 cents, and you're going to have to pay me what you bid unless you bid $1. Would you like my $1 for $1? $1. Okay, $1.10? $1.20? You're going to have to pay $1, you're going to get nothing. $1.20? Oh, come on, play with me here. Okay. So what's the point of this very simple negotiation? I do have some points. What are the negotiation lessons that we can learn from this? I'm sorry? Know the rules. Okay, that's a very good point. And think about who made the rules, right? I made the rules, which you can probably guarantee were going to be to my favor. Okay, so being able to set the rules of a negotiation is very powerful. All right, what else? Yes? Okay, so really knowing what you want in the negotiation, what your objectives are, and moving forward. You guys ever hear about sunk costs? Learned that from economics maybe a long time ago. Sunk costs are things that you've incurred in the past that shouldn't affect your behavior going forward. Okay, so when I egged him on to bid more, the guy who bid 80 cents, I egged him on to bid $1. He should have thought, oh no, I've already out 80 cents. Do I really want to continue this course of action? Okay, so really thinking proactively about what's going to happen later. Other things that we can learn from this simple negotiation. What? Okay, time to stop. Yes, thinking ahead. How far am I going to want to go? We're going to call that a reservation value. What's the most that I want to pay for anything? And have that as a rule before I start the negotiation. Okay? Because once I'm in a negotiation, sometimes my emotions can get the better of me. Okay? And you guys were very calm here in your bidding, but I might have gotten you to be a little upset with each other, got your emotions really into it. And that can make you do foolish things in a negotiation. And so really being a little bit dispassionate before you start, thinking about when am I going to stop, how much do I really want this item. Okay? Anything else I want to think about? I can learn from this. Yes?
There's a point that you have to think about if you end up being the second bidder, that you're actually be paying and getting nothing back.
Okay, yes. So be continually evaluating how much more am I going to bid, but also thinking if I'm the second highest bidder, there's somebody else here in the room that I'm competing against. Thinking about what are they going to do? Okay? I always want to think about the other side in a negotiation, and we don't do that enough, right? We walk into a negotiation thinking about our own case, what we want, but I have to really think systematically. What is the other side going to do? If I'm going to keep bidding, I'll bet the other side is going to keep bidding too, which means I don't want to keep bidding. Okay, so I really want to think consistently about the other side. Okay, any other lessons? Yes?
Here there seems to be one winner and one loser.
Okay.
It's not a win-win. So somebody has to figure out who's going to be the loser at what level.
Okay, yes. This is not a win-win, except for I'm going to win in this negotiation. But this is a very competitive situation. One party's going to win and one party's going to lose. And do you want to even enter a negotiation in which that's going to be set up that way? Okay? And that really gets me to my last point, which is look before you leap. I didn't give you a lot of time to really think about this negotiation before you entered. But if you had, here's the reasoning you should have had. Okay, so it sounds very attractive. I'm going to get Linda's dollar for cheap. But if I think it's attractive, it's probably the case that one other person in the room is going to think this is attractive. If that's the case, I don't want to enter. All right? So I was counting on the fact that you all hadn't colluded ahead of time. You didn't know I was going to do this. And so there were going to be more than one bidder. Okay? And so you really want to think systematically many steps ahead in any negotiation that you enter. Okay, so I think we can learn a lot just from a simple exercise like that. And we're going to be doing today lots of different cases that will work on your negotiation skills. Most of them are going to be a little more complicated and are going to look at different aspects of negotiation skill building. Okay? Any questions before I move forward? Okay. All right, this gets me to my last point here. Why do people need negotiation training? The first point is that I always make money in the dollar auction, okay, which is really that people may have done lots of negotiations in the past, but you might not have taken any negotiation class or thought systematically about your negotiation skills. And even though we do a lot of negotiations in our lives, we don't think about them systematically enough, and we don't debrief ourselves. So after a negotiation, I may not sit down and think about, okay, what are the things that I did well? What are the things that I didn't do so well? And one of the problems is that often when our negotiations are unsuccessful, we blame the other side. And that might be appropriate in some contexts, but it's also very useful to reflect on what is it that I could have done differently that would have helped me improve my negotiation outcomes. Okay? And that's why I especially like doing cases, because we can really take the time to reflect. I can say, you know what, you got a great outcome. Share your wisdom with us. What is it that you did that worked so well for you? Maybe I got a bad outcome and I can share what it is that I did that I thought worked particularly poorly. And so we're going to be discussing the cases and really applying the skills that I'm going to teach you today to the actual exercises. Okay?